Let's talk about what language is. There are two very important language skills that we should possess as a way for us to be able to function in everyday life. The first part is receptive language, which is the ability to understand what someone says to us and then being able to respond to that appropriately. So receptive language is not anything that we do verbally, but it's what we do by pointing or touching and physically following out a command to let others know that we understand what they've said to us. So we may identify objects by showing someone a cup, identify action by showing someone doing something, following a command like go get your cup. It can be single or multi-step. Demonstrating understanding of basic concepts such as spatial concepts, taking something in, taking something out, descriptive concepts, big, little, and wet. You're showing someone those things, making inferences, guessing about what's going to happen next or what someone is going to do or why something happened based on information that's already been provided for us. So again, receptive language is what we do through our bodies through pointing or touching or physically following a command, but it does not require a verbal response. Expressive language is using words in sentences to communicate what we understand about the world around us. So we do that by naming actions, naming objects, answering yes no questions or WH questions, combining a noun, a verb, an adjective, a modifier in sentences in order to communicate what we need or what we want. So expressive language is actually being able to sign with your hands, using your mouth to do one word utterances or being able to speak in sentences. So something that I have today that targets both of those particular skills is a activity that I have called speech matchups, early language concepts. And the four major skills or five major skills that are being covered are matching, identifying, expressing, association, and answering questions. And so I'm actually going to give you a demonstration, but I just kind of want to show you what it actually looks like and how it works. So further on, as we get through the video, you're going to see a set of pictures such as this ball, the bowl, the paper, the ball, the shoes, the table, and the dog. And there are two more sets of pictures to follow. What you're going to do is make an extra copy of those 3 pages because those pictures need to be cut out and they will be used with the rest of the skills that are being targeted within this activity. So the first skill is matching. You're going to cut the pictures out, still have the same 3 pictures in whole format on the document, still going to be pages included in your book, and you're going to have the kids or children be able to match the pictures picture by picture, finding the pictures that look the same. At that point, you're not requiring them to name or to show you anything, only to match the pictures. Once they've done that, you take those same pictures and you work on naming. You hold up the picture card, you ask them what it is, give them a chance to respond. If they don't, you provide them with the correct word, get them to imitate, and they go back and they match the picture again. That's naming. Once they've done naming and the pictures are actually still on the board, then you do show me the baby, show me the car, show me the soap. So now you're having them point to the pictures. Okay. And you may not get through it as easily. It may take weeks or months for them to get from matching to naming to identifying. Okay. So these are still the first 3 pictures. They've first 3 pages in the book, you've cut out the pictures and you're still using those particular boards to match, to name, and to identify. So once you get through that part, the next thing that you're going to work on is associations. So on the associations, there's still 3 sets of pictures that go with that. So for socks, you're going to find the pictures that were included on the extra pictures that you copy, which one goes with socks. So of course, you will have them find the picture of the shoes. Which one goes with cereal? You will have them find a picture of the bowl. Which one goes with paper? You will have them find a picture of the pencil. So that's making associations, which is important because it's showing that they understand how objects relate to each other. So you can either hold up the picture of the shoe and say, what goes with the shoe? And you give them that picture and let them put the shoe on top of the sock. All right. And so for your next set of pictures that goes with that, here we have the bottle, the key, the brush, the milk, the cheese, and the pillow. So you find a set of pictures that you know associates with that. And then you hold up the picture of the baby and you say, what goes with the baby? And they should place it on top of the bottle. All right. So once they've done that and they found the correct association, or you've had to help them find it, then the next thing you're going to do is say, well, why do these things go together? Why does the bottle go with the baby? And you expect them to say, that's because the baby drinks from the bottle. If they don't say it, you say it for them and you get them to repeat and you go over it again. And you're going to do the same thing with the next set of pictures. All right. So where we have the picture of the glove or the mitten, you're going to hold up the picture of the hand and ask them, what does the hand go with? And you're hoping that they will match it with the glove. If they get it incorrect, you provide them with the correct response. Then you give them a chance to tell you why. If they're unable to do that, then you provide them with the right answer, get them to repeat, and you go back over that process. Okay? And so the next area that we're covering is answering questions. So you take those same pictures, you find the picture of the shoes, and you say, what do we do with shoes? You let them use the picture cues on the card, and they should place the picture of the shoes on top of the boy that is walking. All right. And you should say, what do we do with shoes? We walk in our shoes. Okay. The same thing for the bowl. What do we do with the bowl? And it should be, we eat out of the bowl. So they should get the picture of the bowl and put it with the little boy that is eating his food out of the bowl. If they match the picture together, but they are unable to tell you with words why what you do with it, then you provide them the right response and you have them repeat. And that's what you're going to do for the remainder of the picture. So I thought I'd come in really quick and just give you a live demonstration of how you need to use this activity book. And I also wanted you to see what it actually looks like when it's all put together. So here is basically an entire printed copy of my book. And as you can see, it's been laminated. I use cardstock paper. And as a way to prevent myself from using up so much of my laminating paper, I would just take 2 pages and put them front to back so that I could actually have, 2 double sides from one piece of laminating paper, just like that one. Okay, so this is actually what the book looks like. Now, so I'm going to put this cover page down and I'm going to show you those first 3 pages of the book that I said earlier in the video that were important, because you're going to take these first 3 pages here. There's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. You're going to make an extra copy of the first 3 pages so that you can cut them out. So here are my pictures already cut out of those same pictures that I just showed you. That's necessary simply because the first skill that you're going to work on is the matching. Okay, and you can only do the matching with the first 3 pages of the book. Those are the only pages that you can do the matching with. These first 3 pages are so important, and the extra copy be made, that's important as well, that you cut them out, because these pictures are necessary in order to get finished with the rest of the book. So when you get to the area where you start doing your associations, these pictures will be necessary. When you get to the area where you start answering your WH questions, like what do you do with, those same pictures will still be necessary. But you're going to use the first 3 pages to conquer matching, naming, and identifying. So basically, matching is the first skill that you're going to work on. So that's simply taking your picture board, taking the pictures that you've got cut out and having them match it picture to picture. So you're going to hold the picture up and say, with the board already in front of them, where is this? Find the one that looks like this one. And you don't want to necessarily name it right away because you want to just see if they can focus in on the details to be able to find it. But it is okay if you say comb. But I would initially start off just saying, find the one that looks like this one, and then they're going to match it to the picture of the comb by putting it here. You're going to do the same thing with the next one. Find the one that looks like this one, and then they should match it to the car. So matching is a skill that it may take about 3 or 4 sessions depending on the attention span and the awareness of the child. It may take a minute for them to realize that those pictures are the same. Do not panic if they do not get it correct the first time. They need to learn. It's probably a skill that they already don't know. So you just give them cues such as, find the one that looks just like this one. Don't these two look the same? Look, don't they look alike? Even if you have to go ahead and give it to them, you still need to explain what look alike and same and match what those words mean. So you may have to go over this skill a couple of times before you can actually get to the naming and identifying. But let's assume they go ahead and they do that right away. Once they have matched all of the pictures, you can take those pictures back off, use that same board, hold up that picture again, and this time you're going to say, what is this? That's eliciting the expressive language component by having them name the picture. What is this? Give them an opportunity. If they do not say it, you give them the word, you see if they will repeat, and then you allow them to place it back to the picture that looks just like it. And then you say, this is a comb. We use it to do our hair. Give them extra details about the picture so that they can kind of remember what it is based on what you told them. Okay? And so you go and you do the same thing again with the car. What is this? Give them a chance to respond. If they don't, then you say, car. This is a car. What is this? Give them another opportunity. Then if it still doesn't come out, then sometimes I try saying the first sound in the word, car, car. Beep, beep goes the car. You drive a car, give them as much information as they need. So if they don't know it, you're still giving them ways that they can remember it. So let's say you've gone through each one of these and you ask what they are and all the pictures have been matched. Leave the pictures there, because now you're going to get into your identifying. And of course, like I said, you're going to do this for the next 2 pages after this one. All right. So once all the cards are here, then you can either ask them to identify the object by description or by name. So the way you could do it by description is, give me the picture that shows what we drive and what says beep beep, and they should go to the board and pull off the picture of the car. If they don't, you make the necessary corrections and let them know what details match and which ones don't. So you go back, let's just say all the pictures are here, and then you say, well, which one makes milk and is an animal and it says moo, and they should hand you the picture of the cow. That's how you can do identifying by object description. Okay. Once, if you're not comfortable with that or you don't think they're quite ready for that level yet, then you'll simply do the identifying by holding it up and saying, where's the car? Give me the picture of the car. And you still can say the car goes beep, beep. The car is what you can drive. You can still add that detail after a while if they're not quite sure what you're talking about. All right. So that's how you would do the identifying. So it may take, like I said, 3 or 4 sessions to get to the matching, through the identifying and the naming, but it's all at the pace of the child. Don't make them feel rushed because you're ready for them to know it. Give them as much time as they need for them to know it. And I even say this for my parents, for any graduate clinicians or any initial speech therapists that are just starting out. when you go in to teach the skill, don't be scared that when you present it to the child, they're not going to know what to do. That's why it's a goal for therapy, because it's a skill they need to learn, and it's a skill that they have time to actually grow into. So it's not a race against what they know. It's trying to teach them the information, and it's not so much about right and wrong, but it's about the process that you're teaching them to learn how to match, to learn how to name. You're teaching them the structure of language so that they can operate in their everyday life with normal language skills. So you cannot feel bad when they don't know the information. That's why you're there to give it to them, to rehearse it with them, and then once they've learned it, then you start to go in and add in more different things so that the skill they're learning can carry over from just the therapy session into their everyday life, into the classroom or whatever. So don't feel bad when you present it to them and they don't exactly know what to do. You teach them how to do it. Okay, so don't let that make you nervous. And I just want to let you know, with this particular book that I have, I've actually started using this book with my children that I see through our early intervention program when they're right at about 2 years, 4 to 5 months. I have presented this book and it has worked. And my kids are actually making good progress on it. So you can start with a child as young as 2 years, 4 months old on a book like this. And it just depends on their maturity level, if they're attending or not. Now, I would not give this to a child who has not yet learned how to attend. If you're talking to them and their face is going every which of way instead of looking at you, they're not ready for an activity like this. You probably still need to be working on toys. But once they get to the point that they can start matching things, they're looking at you more, they're following simple directions more, then they're definitely ready to do something like this. And they kind of somewhat need to be to the point, not even where they're naming, but they're attempting to try to use words to say something. Okay, I just don't want to make this too long. On the next part that we have are associations. All right, so when we say associations, you're talking about two objects that go together and the reason why they relate to each other. So if we look at this one, and we have the picture of the glove, so you're going to find the pictures, parents or clinicians, that we already know within ourselves that correspond with these pictures. So for example, if this board is in front of them, I'm going to show them the bee. I'm like, look at the bee. Which one of these pictures does the bee go with? And they should take the bee down to where the honey is. If they don't know that, you help them and you say, well, bees make honey. That's why the bees and the honey go together. Bees make honey. What do bees do? And give them an opportunity to repeat that information back to you. Now, let's just say that the child was able to make the association without you having to help them. Once they make it, then you kind of put them on a spot verbally to tell you, well, why does the bee and the honey go together? Do you know why? And they still should say to you, because bees make honey. If they don't know that, you tell them and you get them to repeat it. All right. So let's do one more example of that. Try to make sure that's the right one. So here's the mop. And you say, here's the mop. What does the mop go with? Which one of these pictures? If they take the picture and they put it to the mop without your help, then you ask, well, why does the mop and the broom go together? And they should say, because they're both used for cleaning the floor. If they don't know, you tell them and you get them to repeat. And it's two more sets of pictures for associations for each set of cards that we have. All right. And the last thing that you get to is matching objects with action, and it kind of gets them to answer. You're discussing object function, but you're also answering WH questions as well. So it's what do you do with and what do I do? Okay, that's the question that you ask to elicit these responses. So for this particular thing we have here, you hold up the picture of the table and you tell them, what do we do with the table? What do we do with the table? They may not be able to tell you, but they may take the picture of the table and match it up with the people that are sitting at the table. If they do that, you say, well, why? What do you do with the table? What does the picture show us? What are they doing in the picture? Sit at the table. What do you do with a table? You sit at the table. You say it and you get them to repeat. So that's pretty much how this goes. And this is pretty much an activity that can grow with your kids from about 2 years, 4 months to a child that is about 6 or 7 years old, who's still having difficulties with this. I just say take your time and get through it. But it's such a good activity because it's conquering so many different language skills at one time. So if you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to email me and contact me, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.